Peace. Welcome back to the Voices of Reason show. I'm your host, Skilo Slim. And today we got a very inspirational, outspoken guest in the building. So we brought him up here to enlighten us on a few subjects. So I'm going to pass it around so he can introduce himself. Peace, my brother.
Peace. Hey.
What's going on, man?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah. My name is Stephen Abraham, and I'm one of the former commissioners for Omaha Housing Authority. I also sit on the board currently for the Early Learning Center. I shouldn't say board, but the council for policy and procedures. Also sit on the board for Project Homeless Connect with Creighton. And I had sit on the board of Match. So a lot of the things that I do is centered around the community aspect. Another thing that I used to work for Charles Drew Health Center as a community health worker, and also for Sienna Francis House as the day house manager for 2.5 years actually. I work closely with the homeless. I also work closely with the young homeless population and trying to provide helpful service to them.
Yeah, I was down there last night, like behind the, on the other side of the Francis House, you know, when it's get full and everybody be out in the field, the park and all that. Yeah, I was down there. I'll be down there building with the brothers sometimes. I'm like a trench person, you know. I get in the trenches, you know. So So what of all those hats that you wear, what is the where do you feel like your impact is the most needed?
I think, you know, we got to be multi-talented. The universe is multi-dimensional, and also our atmosphere and our environment. So the narrative of being one-dimensional, one passion-driven, it's not necessarily correct. I think you have to be multi-talented, aware on different levels. The universe tells us to do that. So I think that housing, healthcare, conflict resolution, financial literacy, those things are important, especially in the North Omaha.
Right. Yeah, that's key. Everything that you said is key. To me, the biggest ones is the financial literacy, you know, because a lot of times people don't know what to do with their money.
Yeah.
And it like burns a hole in their pocket and it's gone before they even realize it. And I think a lot of times that's just from like not knowing.
Yeah, you know, we see that a lot. You know, when I became commissioner, I was elected by Gene Stofford about 4 years ago. And during that time, we were starting to put together the Neighborhood Choice Grant that was just recently awarded to the city of Omaha. Only 2 cities in the United States of America was awarded this grant. And it provides much needed funds for renovations and also new developments. So we implemented programs that would benefit the residents. Those programs consisted of the very things I just mentioned, financial literacy, conflict resolution skills, and also job creation. So you know, a lot of those things are incorporated into the new developments that we're going to do. So, you know, individuals also bringing back a form of home ec. A lot of individuals that we service or serve to, they have some issues that's been identified of keeping up certain units. So bringing back that aspect, I think that's important also in our schools. You know, I think that's a lost art.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that. Because now it's like the microwave era. Everybody got short attention span. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like I remember, you know, like I got shirts right now, right? I pop a button, I sew the button back on. And I hear people say, man, just get another shirt.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's just sewing the button. It take 5 minutes.
You know, I think that for the most part, we became comfortable with a certain situation, and we didn't look forward to moving forward in a positive, productive manner. We just took the easy route. We took the quick route. And so with that being said, we got to bring back patience. We got to study patience again, because that's the key to discipline. When you're disciplined on yourself or the things that you do, and you do it in a positive manner that's going to benefit people, we tend to see better results. You know, like a bodybuilder. I'm just going to use that. As you can see, I'm not a bodybuilder at all by any means, but that person dedicates themselves to perfecting their body and how they look. But that's not to say that someone that doesn't look like that person is not healthy.
Right.
So it's just being positive and productive and staying focused and patient and disciplined in whatever you do.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. What's the process like? What was the process like to get involved with these different boards and different organizations?
Well, it started actually, I grew up in a unlikely life. I grew up in Logan Fontenelle Projects off of 24th Street. A lot of people knows it as Vietnam Projects. And I grew up in the 70s. I'm a little bit older. It was in the 70s. During that time, you know, I grew up in gang life. And that was my culture, that was in my environment. And my older brother, you know, basically said, hey, this is the lifestyle that you're going to lead. My father, he was in the military, and so was my mother. They both were hard-working individuals. Actually, my mother worked right down the street at St. Joe's Hospital for 30 years.
That's dope.
So I knew about work ethic. I knew about what it would take to be on the straight arrow, if you want to say, but peer pressure.
Yeah.
Peer pressure always gets us. And I ran with my friends. So during that time, my mother was the commissioner of Housing Authority for Douglas County, before Douglas County and Omaha Housing Authority split. She chose to stay on the Douglas County side, but I think that's one of the things that gave me inspiration. But also being formerly incarcerated for a year, that gave me inspiration to really think about the issues individual returning citizens go through when they're trying to get housing or jobs. So that inspired me to join these boards and try to make a difference with the policies and procedures in place that I feel cause stagnation amongst our people.
Right, right. So it's just a thing of applying, or do you need to know somebody to get involved?
So as far as being a commissioner, you can apply with the city of Omaha on the mayor's link, and you can look and see a list of the boards that are have vacancies. At that time, you can fill out the application on a PDF, take that and upload it and see what the mayor decides.
Right.
She ultimately makes the decision.
Yeah, see, that I didn't know that. I'm thinking that everybody on the board is like, okay, we want him, we want them, we want them. I didn't know that you could just.
Yeah, it's like a job application almost. You're going and you're putting down all your skills, your references, and why you feel that you want this position. And so, you know, I did those things. I mentioned my mother a little bit. She was one of the women to help reformulate the Section 8 program that we currently know to eventually create the Housing Choice Voucher. It's through the Portability Act, and that happened right here in the city of Omaha. I'm proud to that she did that, because before, individuals that were low income could only live in the projects. And so with that initiative, with Bob Armstrong's leadership, a lot of things really changed.
Right, yeah. Right. I remember, that's like in the 90s, right?
Actually, a lot of those discussions took place in the 70s, 60s and 70s. And so as what you're talking about as far as Logan Fontenelle, the demolition of those properties, yes, that did take place then. But there's also strategic planning that goes with that, especially with displacement of residents. And so there's a lot of thought process that go along with these projects.
Right, right. Because I remember when I was in grade school, and it was like a big thing because a lot of people in these different neighborhoods didn't want them to build low-income housing in their area.
Yes.
And I just remember like feeling, I don't know, at school, because you know, we got bused. So it was like, we got bused from the hood, they bust us out, and it was like, I just remember feeling a sense of shame, even though I don't think that we lived in those areas, but the way that they talked about it, it made me feel like, well, why we can't live in You know, it's like,
Yeah.
so I just remember that time period.
You know, I think that, I was part of that generation as well, where they bused the students to different areas of the city because it was kind of something like, I want to say integration, some sort of integration form where
and it was a good experience, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, but I still, I have mixed thoughts about that because I think that it was a talent search. And the reason why I say talent search is because predominantly most of the athletic individuals was in North Omaha. And so it was almost like you said, reverse integration. They had students come from out west to the north and south and vice versa. But as you can see, we kind of see the effects of that today. We see individuals now wanting to go out to further west schools when we should be keeping our talent here in North Omaha and developing our district. One of the things that I'm doing here in the future is running for a public office. That's why I did not seek re-election as far as my position as Commissioner of Omaha Housing Authority. Right. I feel that not to knock anyone else, because Ben Gray, Alberto Gonzalez, and Jerry Barty was my mentors when I was going to South High School. Right. And, they did a lot of things for me as a young individual. But I think it's time for the next generation to rise up, take responsibility, accountability for a lot of the things that we kind of created. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like we have to get involved with all of that, and a lot of times that's where that gap comes from, because it'll be like you see a person that's doing that job and it's like they're in their 60s, like they're pretty well established.
Yeah.
We don't really connect. It's like a generation gap. So then it's like if you had somebody who was in their early 40s and their 30s, and ideally, me, myself, I want to see these like 17, 18, 19-year-olds stepping up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, and I was just going to say, young people are our future.
Indeed.
And so we have to educate them, nourish them. Education is a nourishment. A lot of people will look at food as that, or water or some type of drink, but it also is a nourishment for the brain, it's for the mind. That's what causes our pineal gland, our third eye, vision, that just meaning our thoughts, being a visionary, to be more focused on achievable goals. How do we know that that's been kind of distorted a little bit? Because sometimes we find ourselves making unachievable goals, and then we get mad at ourselves when we don't succeed. So to reverse that relapse thinking, we have to make achievable goals to be successful within our community.
Indeed. So what do you think that you would bring, because you said you want to run for public office, so what's your vision for that district?
Yeah, so the office that I plan on running for is District 2. I was born and raised, like I said before, near North Side Omaha. That's the old part of Omaha.
No doubt.
And I feel that, infrastructure is important. As far as I can remember, Omaha has looked somewhat the same infrastructure-wise near North Omaha. So a lot of getting, addressing the infrastructure, getting people back to work, motivated, that's going to build self-value and self-worth. And a community only can be as strong as the people that's in the community. Indeed. So when you start seeing each other as valuable individuals within your society, the possibilities is endless. The next thing is financial literacy. Like you mentioned before, individuals have a hard time budgeting their money. And one thing that people don't know is that majority of the workforce for the city of Omaha resides in District 2. So that means that you got individuals going outside of District 2 and working in other districts, and then coming back and not spending it within the district totally. So I want to change that. I want to make sure that individuals have jobs and successes that they can really capitalize on within the district. And so that's one avenue I would, go about. And then we have conflict resolution. A lot of our fellow comrades, I would like to call them, feel that we have correct conflict resolution skills, but in a whole we don't. We can see that by black-on-black crime, gang violence. Even when it comes to resolving an issue, you don't see individuals truly reaching out to try to do certain things. I do gotta give a shout out to Robert Wagner, because he is one of those individuals that does try to reach out and do what he can. I also gotta give a shout out to We, Us, and Ours, Michael Phelps. You know, those individuals, they try to bring the message out to the people too, as well. But that duty is on all of us as citizens of District 2. We have to take accountability and responsibility for our actions, and then be willing to sit at the table and discuss how we can repair broken processes.
Right. I definitely agree with that. See, and a big part of that to me, because I like the phrase that you just used, and I want all of us to get out of that mind frame, is that black-on-black crime. Now, granted, I'm not saying that it's not work we could do in our community, but terms like that is something that gets into our minds and gets into the baby's minds and makes them think it's something wrong with us.
Yep.
When in actuality, people murder the people close to them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at any other community and you say, okay, this white dude is killing people, he's most likely killing white people because that's who's close to him.
Yes.
Asians kill Asians. You know what I'm saying? Mexicans kill Mexicans because it's proximity. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm always on board with because we definitely have to be more civilized in our community. And I agree with you with the conflict resolution. We need to get to a place where we can talk. I just want to get rid of those phrases, those catchphrases. You know what I mean? Yeah,
wording is important in our society. Right. It's a vibration. So even as we speak and do this interview, we are vibrating on a certain frequency. Right. And we know that to be true because a lot of wireless things operate on a frequency. So what happens with, I feel, African Americans is that when we come together, we have a lack of trust, and that's due to post-traumatic stress syndrome from slavery. So this is something that is not a natural thing. It was a program put on us as a people to kind of keep us docile in a way, and not together. Like the light-skinned Negro against the dark-skinned Negro. These are different programs that did not exist prior to slavery in regards to a specific people's community. Right. And that's an important understanding to know. So I wanted to go and touch back with housing. Mm-hmm. That's another format that I think is important because it all starts at home. Right. And if the individuals, that's the mother or the father, are not giving correct parental guidance, then we're going to see some issues. So I think programs that's geared, like I said before, home ec, conflict resolution falls in that, financial literacy. Basically, all the things that I've said falls right back into the household. It all starts there. So that foundation has got to be built on integrity and, like I said, accountability and responsibility. Those words got ability in it. So it's up to us to make that move, create that action with positive thoughts to be a productive citizen within the community. And like you said before, going back to the terms and the words we use and vibrations, if we speak positive things to each other and get these stigma, these names that were put and given to us, just like civil rights. Civil rights was handed to us, but we tend to forget about that. We need to go after human rights if we're going to see any productive things towards any type of recovery of any sorts. So I think one of the important things I did is put that fuel and thought into the hearts and minds of my fellow commissioners, and we were able to change a lot of key rules that were affecting low-income individuals and minorities. One of those things is that we had a change for our conviction rate, and that in regards to waiting 6 years to get housing. Now you can get housing after 2 years of being convicted. So before you got convicted, you got out of jail, you had to wait 6 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, and which will cause couch surfing. I know I'm a little bit over the place, but it will cause couch surfing, and that contributed to recidivism. And remember before, this is all about the house.
Right.
So what we did was we said, you know what? We feel that we may be possibly contributing to recidivism. So we want to change that. And we changed it to 2 years after you're convicted. So you serve 2 years, you get out. If it's a nonviolent offense, and certain things we will look at, but if it's a nonviolent offense, we're going to look at your application in different eyes. So I think that's going to help people build confidence, bringing the father and the mother back in the house, you know, together, because a lot of people say that the system created the partitioner walls between the man and the woman. Right. So we want to break that partitioner wall down and put those individuals back together.
Yeah, that's definitely key. That is definitely key. I never knew that it was a 6-year thing. That's good that y'all got that change. See, my thing is, and you might be able to like set me straight, but I never suggest any man to try to get any kind of assistance, because to me, it's always for women. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, we got to know the history about even how the government came to think about assistance. So the Black Panther Party, a lot of people don't know that the Black Panther Party is the ones that created WIC. So that WIC idea, and before they had conversations with the government, these were assistance programs for everyone. And see, a lot of people don't know that. Right. So there's a lot of misconceptions. People hear Black Panther Party and they just think Black Power. Right. But in reality, they were helping everyone, and they were protectors within the community. Right.
It's definitely, it's for the people. And that's where you got to be careful with the following the propaganda, because that's majority of what people think. You know what I'm saying? I got friends of mine that's white that's like, if I say anything about Black Panthers, they feel kind of like I'm attacking them or something. Yeah. When it's like their programs were for everyone. Yeah. It was for the community. Yep. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, okay, nah, we got a breakfast program, but you got to get out of here. Yeah. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. But that's how the media spent it. Yeah,
and other people took on that program, right. And
like
then
the breakfast program.
Yeah, and they changed it. You go as far as implementing it in schools. I mean, I can remember a time that when we got out of school, we would go to the boys' club, boys and girls club, male or female. And congregate with our friends, have a good time. There's a lot of things that was promoted in the house first, and then it came out into the community. There's been a lot of changes since then. Right. I see less and less children outside playing with their friends. I see less and less individuals, willing to let another person discipline their child. When we grew up in that era where somebody down the street seeing you doing something bad, they'll get on you. So there's a lot of things that change. So we all realize that it starts with the housing. So we had to take that initiative to make those changes so that we could promote wellness with the family.
Yeah, that's definitely key, because you're right. Like, a lot of things have changed. You mentioned the Boys and Girls Club. This is like a side note, but like, I was at the Boys and Girls Club when it switched and became the Boys and Girls Club. Like, when I first started going, it was just the Boys Club. Yep. And I think it was a lot better.
Yeah.
Personally, because it was dope, because it would be like 16-year-olds mentoring the 12 and 13-year-old boys. Yeah. Once you bring 16-year-old girls to 16-year-old boys, they're not worried about that 12-year-old no more.
Exactly. They're not even worried about shop class. They're not worried about anything. Yeah. So now, that's why I said boys club, and then I said, Boys and Girls Club. Right. Because I didn't want to give away my age at the same time. So we're around the same,
We close enough.
But those are things that are very important. So we're looking, Omaha Housing Authority is looking to partner with groups, community groups, to try to provide a service to the residents, especially the young people. There's a lot of changes that's going on. I heard that Mad Dads is about to make a comeback within the city. So I think that's another important thing as well. But, you know, just to make the point of how important it is to be active within the community as a civil servant, I just want to bring this to a part, is that you got to get out in the community and engage with the community the best way that you can so you can address some of these issues. I mean, right now, the homeless rate for veterans is very high. Young people are the second biggest homeless group besides veterans. We have to get out there and become mentors again. We have to be the Joe Edmondsons. We have to be the Carl Washingtons. We have to be the Curly Alexanders. We got to be Carl that used to coach with the football. You know, we have to be those individuals. We have to be the Gainies. We have to be those men again to really bring change within the community. Because the women, I'm gonna tell you right now, the women's been shouldering the brunt of the work. Right. I commend, you know, the women in the community, Precious McKesson, Ashley Spivey, you know, these are women that are doing things in the community that is positive and productive. No doubt. So we have to be there as men, as brothers, to be the support for them, to back them up. No doubt. You know, and even with my wife, I've been married for 12 years. I got 6 kids with 1 on the way. Congratulations. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, you know, I like I said, I'm a little bit older. I didn't, you know, the new child that's going to be coming soon is a blessing from the Most High, and I appreciate that. But, you know, that's why I said, you know, things work in mysterious ways. You never know what pathway you're going to go. I never visualized myself going in this pathway because I always thought that I would be successful as the best career criminal. But in '07, my mother passed away after me moving back here for 3 months. And she told me, she said, you need to help the people. You know, you need to get active and help the people. And I never looked back.
That's a piece right there. That's a piece. That's definitely a beautiful thing. I hate that the time goes so fast. So we came to the part of the show where you let people know how they can get in touch with you, how they can support you.
Yes. So, like I said, my name is Stephen Abraham. I run Each One Teach One page. I've been running that for the last 10 years. And you can get a hold to me that way or through Facebook. Look up my name, Stephen Abraham. Also, if you want to contact me with the Omaha Housing Authority, go to ohauthority.org and look under HIO, and it'll list the commissioners that way. Also, through the Early Learning Center website, you can contact me that way as well. But as far as that, you know, I gotta just say peace.
No doubt, bro. Well, I just want to say that we proud of the work that you're doing. You know what I'm saying, and keep it up. And we definitely gonna stay tuned in. You know what I'm saying. And anything that we can do here to support you, just let me know. You know, you can come back anytime. You're always welcome.
Yeah,
you know
thank you.
No doubt, man.
Thank you, Seiko.
Appreciate it, man. No doubt, man. So yeah, with that, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna say peace, and we'll see y'all next time.